Kamp, the ambassador of the Helius study. Today I have the privilege to talk to members of the Helius study. We are going to talk about some health issues as well as updates of the Helius study. I will allow my guests to introduce themselves to you.
My name is Veronica, and I'm working in the AMC at the Department of Public Health. I'm a researcher at that department, and I have a PhD in hypertension care, especially directed among ethnic minority groups in Southeast Amsterdam. And now my research is focusing on especially on cardiovascular risk in African migrants. And as a part of that, I'm working on the Helius study.
My name is Lindosa Saragwatin. I'm also a research assistant at the Helius study in AMC. I've been working in AMC since 2009, and I have a master's degree in international public health.
My name is Mary Nicolau. I'm also working at the Department of Public Health at the AMC. My special area of focus is nutrition and health amongst ethnic minorities, and I was involved in the Gaia study in 2009-2010, and in that study we looked at specifically the health of 200 Ghanaians in Amsterdam Southeast, and I'm continuing my research in the Helius study. I'm focusing particularly on diet and physical activity.
Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.
I think I would like to start with Linda to give us some updates of the Helios study among the Ghanaians. But for the sake of our viewers who will be watching us for the first time, you can first tell us something about Helios, what Helios is all about.
Okay, thank you very much. Hello viewers. Helios study, Helios actually is an acronym for Healthy Life in an Urban Setting. And the Helios study is a collaboration between the AMC and HHD Amsterdam. It's been ongoing since 2012. The Ghanaian group is one of the study groups for Helios. There are other groups that are involved in the study where we want to focus on cardiovascular diseases, infectious diseases, and mental health. The other groups are the white Dutch population, the Surinamese, the Moroccans, and the Turks. For the Ghanaian group, we started inviting people since January 2012, and I have been contact for the Ghanaian group in the physical in the questionnaire and the physical examination. The research involves two main things: physical examination and filling out a health questionnaire.
And can you give us some updates of the study as at now?
Yeah, in fact, for the Ghanaian group, if I should say, are very, very encouraging in their response so far. From the beginning of 2012, when we started, the response was encouraging. It was more than what we even expected. We had even more than 70% response. And towards the end of 2012, it slowed down a bit, and now it's picking up. People have their reasons for not participating, but for so far, I could say that the Ghanaian group has been very responsive, and we appreciate that. And we owe this also to the media people, for instance, Kamp TV, So Our TV, Adum TV, and the other radio stations, Radio Godia, Akasanoma Radio, Spirit FM, and of course, Rekoji. So I stand on behalf of my team to use this platform to thank them very, very much for their great collaboration with us.
Thank you very much, Linda. But I understand from September, you are going to send some new invitations. Can you tell us something about it?
Yeah, that's correct. There are a new set of invitations from September to December 2013. This is not going to change in any way. We will follow the same procedure, the same protocol, which is inviting people who are registered in the GBA registry. So the Helios study receives invitation names of people who are registered in the GBA registry, ages from 18 to 70 years, and we send out the invitation to these people. So the procedure is such that when you are invited, it's a personal invitation. You get a response form, and we expect that you will return the response form to us together with your telephone number, and then we will contact you from there. When we contact you, we will ask when it's convenient for you to come and do your physical examination and how you want to do your complete your questionnaire. You could do this online, or you could do it by on paper, and we could send this to you by post. If you would need somebody to help you to complete the questionnaire, we also have interviewers who will come to your home and help you complete the questionnaire.
Ahwefo a mo hwen Linda ye mba ofi yen krom idie me said your kind nya mema waboneto ama wakatwi ama yate asiye Linda new invitation ya mo say ebe na difference wo mu the aba before na ya na say die akoso all this time na September ye mo to yaso
let us nye hu ne say Ghanaians no numbers are pesi invite no koso inti enunti na I say from summertime na I say from kakra because of ebi mututu kwan for holidays inti from September yes I inviting crofobia till December inti aya obi a so far ye inviting na wahwe post box because ebi ana ya send invitation na yes san BPP a omo a omo nim se ne ye research ne fa no bibia ni wa esesa the same thing ye send invitation na ye the response form bi shim na form no din was so deda ye hia ne se obetro o telephone number e was so eno hu hia ye mpa na ye nsaka ye the envelopes wa aka ho nti u post brain a ye nsaka ye be fro na research nyama mienu pa ne ye obeba clinic for physical examination. I feel so no fill forms and a question
examination actually say said the year should wa po mu ni ade no no physical examination
exactly yeah ya should wa po mu ye nyama bebre o ye twi moja kakra for blood test ye the be for cholesterol test ye the Jones was also here for kidney test ye the moja ni bi so here for fats and also for sugar level and I feel so you check your blood pressure enya won sape onan ho no ni pedue mu ye hwe wakoma o ECG sene wakoma esifabo afen so ye hwe o pulse sene o so ade mu a onsem etimi wan ho oden esifatie nti no enyama bebre na ye nti eno wo ye physical examination ye location na location so no ye wo two main locations at Amsterdam, Holindred and Slaughterfat. Inti baby then when utumi choose baby a person will call. And a questionnaire so who here I na stress say yama modern questionnaire na answer yaba physical examination. We here so be other boawa ye won crofo ye ya prepare mo betimi abefi no mabebo.
And etiefu and say said dear Linda Ekano say Mrs. Owusu Asare. Obi a onsanka wo invitation no men worry this time from September no invitations no ever sign abapa was a tell be shawa na ya churu bia na me de minye bi from September ya ye wo mu say be ba until mon check him post in Linda I would like to throw this question to Dr. Eric Benner. Dr. Benner, what are the cardiovascular diseases and how do we identify the risk factors?
Thank you for this question. Yes, cardiovascular diseases are basically diseases of the heart and the blood vessels. And good examples of that are, for instance, heart attack or stroke. And well-known risk factors for that are, for instance, high blood pressure or high cholesterol levels in your blood or diabetes. So these are risk factors that people usually don't notice. So it's very important that you try to get an idea of your risk factors, of your risk profile. And apart from that, there are also other risk factors. For instance, being overweight or smoking. or for instance when high blood pressure or cardiovascular diseases run in your family. So it's very important to know what is your risk. The good news is that when you have a high risk on cardiovascular disease, that you can do a lot about it to lower your risk. So there are many possibilities.
Can you tell us something you already know about the high blood pressure, especially among the origin migrant groups?
Yes, what we know a lot already from previous research, for instance the Gaia study or the Sunset study. What we know is that high blood pressure is especially highly prevalent, so it is more common among people of African origin. For instance, in the Netherlands, about 30% of the ethnic Dutch population have high blood pressure, but instead the African migrant groups, like the Surinamese, have about 50%, and the Ghanaians have even more, 55% high blood pressure. So that is what we know already.
Who gets high blood pressure?
Yeah, who gets high blood pressure? Well, we know that some ethnic group like the Ghanaian groups get it more easily than the Dutch. What we also know is that people of African origin get high blood pressure earlier in life, so on a younger age.
What do you think that happens?
Well, that is what we are trying to, this puzzle we are trying to solve now with the Helius study. We still don't know that very good. But what we also know from previous research is that people of African origin have usually higher blood pressures and that they have higher rates of stroke and heart disease. So we know that people of African origin have a higher risk for cardiovascular disease. So that's a very important finding from our previous study.
Is there something we can do on our own to prevent this?
Well, there are many possibilities, yes. So first we have to know what is your risk. So for instance, if you are overweighted, then you can control your weight and try to reduce weight. So that has effect on your blood pressure, but especially on your cardiovascular risk profile.
Adolfo, say bibi ayaka akodu no yebema Linda so aka e wo yen krom kasem. Linda, betumi abo ne to the doctor aka nyina actually.
Yeah, Pacho udi kan bisa say high cardiovascular diseases ya. And Dr. Eric actually mu say yare awo akoma ho ene niema amoja efemu blood vessels na cardiovascular diseases no mostly near akomayare any stroke na risk factors niema then na unya ekrese when uyenya cardiovascular diseases no ne dikan pa yese o blood pressure e was stroa and afin so o blood cholesterol e was stroa that is radio wo mojemo was stroa and afin so say uye overweight and also so risk factor
overweight na chese
umuedru
osua
umuedru osua edan calculations aya na ehu say healthier and also so one of the risk factors and usen bisa say na biana onim so far from the previous studies why ewo AMC ha and say we hu among African origin groups nipa tuntum from no aya na blood pressure prevalence no chese blood pressure rate no e was so esen abrofo ne de no and non chese abrofo no mu ni bio omo wo bi pomo de no e wo fom esen yen tuntum fo na se no ne onim data from ne PhD no Suriname fo no e wo so kakra but se Ghana fo de no e wo so kra sen Suriname for the na Suriname for the be 50% prevalence of high blood pressure. Ghana for the about 55%. And I think so Ghana for the anymore or the any PhD no who say yenya ye in life. I say senka ebia obi benyia ye pinimu ansa when your high blood pressure among Ghana for no obi sakra na onya high blood pressure.
Let us say youth for no.
Let us say youth cry to high blood pressure. Yeah.
because in name high blood pressure then company for the
Exactly.
but say with the research even the youth can even get it.
Younger generation, you know, because another thing I from the PhD is say African origin for you high blood pressure into no say or you youth so you penimono Rexano
And Dr. Bernard, do you have something more to add?
Yes, what is also a very important finding of previous research from my colleagues as well, that they found that that especially among the African migrant groups, that the control rates are lower. So people who have high blood pressure and getting treatment for high blood pressure find it more difficult to get their blood pressure controlled, because as we said before, there is a lot to do for someone who has high blood pressure to control it. But for African migrants, it's often more difficult to get this blood pressure under control. There are probably several reasons for it. For doctors, it's sometimes more difficult to prescribe the right medicine.
Why is it like that?
Yes, because some medication for Dutch people work differently for people with another ethnic origin. So it's more difficult to find the right medication for some ethnic groups. So that could be a reason. But there's still a lot of research for that going on. So we still don't know that. Another thing could be that the treatment advices that people get are more difficult to understand for people, because there are maybe linguistic barriers or cultural barriers in their doctor-patient communication. Yeah. So what I found in my research is that especially people who I interviewed from the Ghanaian community often find it very difficult to understand what actually high blood pressure is.
What is high blood pressure?
High blood pressure. Well, I think first I have to explain a little bit what happens in the body, in the blood vessels. The heart needs to pump the blood through your body because it has to go to all your organs. So it pumps the blood into your blood vessels. And when the heart pumps, then you get pressure. So that's normal. But when you have high blood pressure, the pressure in the vessels is too high. So it could be that the heart pumps too much blood through your veins. So the pressure is going to the walls of the blood vessels, and when the blood pressure is too high, it can damage the inside of your blood vessels. So that is high blood pressure. And normally we speak about high blood pressure when your pressure is above 140, so that is the systolic blood pressure, or when it is above 90, and that is the diastolic blood pressure.
Yeah. Pacha odi kan bisa say na DMBM na ohu wo ni research mu na odi kan about control among African origin groups. African origin groups, for instance, Ghanaians or Suriname groups, it's a bit difficult for them. Say control blood pressure. One of the reasons ohu ye wo ni PhD is one say a drone ebia yedema Dutch for eya aprofo no ebia enye adwuma ewo tuntumfo no eno ye one. Secondly no so who say ebia Africa ana say tuntumfo no ye no ye control say bia ye adhere to a drone ankasa no so no aya na ye be difficult for enipa ni bi. And thirdly no so no we who say aya na Africa for anase before blood pressure no sometimes communication problem, especially with doctors and specialists are sure ntimi nkyerɛ ne ɛyɛ ni mu yie ama doctor no etimi ehu the right medication a ɛwɔ sɛ ɔde ma no. Yeah. And usan bisa biom fa what is high blood pressure ye moja mroso aya ye kama asem den. And Dr. Eric so can say or describe senior the normal akoma esifa na normal akoma bo a moja ekọ nipedua nimu enenam veins mo ye intini nim na say obi wo moja mroso a eno no moja no ekọ akoma ni mu ewa ahoden so moja a efiri akoma na ekọ ntin ni mu a ebefe ni pedua ni mu no ekọ ahoden so nti ema pressure ebeto ntin ni so nti na ntin no I say I am re eni nti na say ye measure obi a owo high blood pressure ne reading no ekọ above 140 eno na ye cut off ID hu say onipa no high blood pressure a strong number no call above 140 and also say a phone number ne pa above 90 nature say your diagnosis of high blood pressure.
Dr. Veronica, what are the signs and symptoms of high blood pressure?
Yes, actually, most people who have high blood pressure do not feel anything from it. So there are actually no signs or symptoms. Some people say that they can feel that their blood pressure is rather high. Sometimes they feel something in the shoulders or in the head, but actually they cannot say precisely if the blood pressure is high. So the only thing you know when you want to know if you have high blood pressure is to measure it with a measuring device. And for that you can go to your doctor.
So if you don't measure it, that you don't know there's something wrong with you, then it's very dangerous.
Yes, it could be dangerous, but it's especially dangerous when it lasts for a long time. So it's not like that when your blood pressure rises a little bit that you are in danger. It is especially dangerous when it stays a long time elevated, so above these figures that Linda told us.
So there are no signs and symptoms?
No.
And I don't feel nothing, I don't feel like just checking it, then anything can happen to me. I don't know if it's high or it's low.
That's right. You don't notice if your blood pressure is high or low.
Unless you check it.
Unless you check it.
So it's very advisable that your house doctor check it for you frequently.
Yes, your doctor does that when he thinks it's necessary, because it is depending on the other risk factors that you have. Like for instance, when high blood pressure runs in the family, or you have a lot of cardiovascular diseases in the family, then your doctor will check your blood pressure many times. But when there are no other risk factors, then they will not check it very often.
And is it true that our lifestyle, like exercises, our eating habits also contributes to a high rate of getting hypertension?
Yes, it's clearly proven by research that bad lifestyle habits can contribute to hypertension. Yes, for instance, when you are obese or overweight, it can contribute to getting hypertension. Or when you are physically inactive, when you don't do enough exercises, then you have more chance of getting high blood pressure. Or for instance, when you take a lot of salt in your diet, especially people of African origin are very sensitive for salt, and when they use a lot of salt, then you see that the blood pressure will rise.
Dr. Eric, enyema emaye inya etre say moja no abroso high blood pressure moja no so no any sign bia and dan ho edi e wo bibie mu unless say measure isusu say blood pressure and cholesterol, because I now said from the research no who say ebi mu ka say ebi a ofele pressure won ne kon ho ana baby, but enimu mu say ebi a sign say blood pressure. Na the only thing is say you be measure amount and I may very bisa say na one measure the na chese unhu and I say no korampa so one measure ya unhu da intina e won, but that doesn't mean say the first time I'll be measure I'll be who say was strong say high blood pressure. Nemo high blood pressure no doctor no diagnose when say wa measure blood pressure no for a long time who say they be our be measure piano e was strong. No wa diagnose say high blood pressure. And yesen bi say biom say na enyama ben na ya e ma high blood pressure no e cholesterol, and also say ye pressure no cholesterol enyama bi fa eduane die ho ana na Dr. Eric mu say dietary habits and as enyama ye di no and also contribute ma yenya high blood pressure example salt. Na yen Africa for and I say tuntum for no ye very sensitive to salt. Inti say ye din chene bebre a ema yenya high blood pressure.
Dr. Eric, how can a participant control the high blood pressure when you find out from the Helios result that is high?
Yes. Well, maybe one thing I would like to add to this previous part is that we saw, especially that overweight and physical inactivity are very common among the African migrant group. But my colleague Mary, maybe she will tell something more about that. But especially for that, it's very important that we do more research on the African migrant population. And now the Helius study, we are trying to get more insight in these risk factors. For instance, physical inactivity, or for instance, obesity, or for instance, high blood pressure. And when somebody comes to the Helios location for the physical examination, and we see that somebody has an elevated blood pressure, then we don't diagnose directly that somebody has high blood pressure, but we send him or her to the general practitioner, because the general practitioner needs to measure the blood pressure many times, and when it stays a longer period elevated, then he can diagnose high blood pressure, and then there is a kind of treatment for. I can explain something more about that.
Another thing, Dr. Eric has physical activity, send ye who esify denfa, and ye mudru so efa, and also apart from mentioning contributed to high blood pressure. Na enutikra na Helius study ye try see benya more answers to this. Say overweight any physical inactivity, say unya hwe na unya exercise contribute to high blood pressure. Say na say umuye dru fa na so say uhunye den a etimi ma high blood pressure. And know you're one of the things a Helios study yes na no Dr. Veronica so be mu efa induane nsem ho and also no edian induane ben na ye dia ema ye moja no moja mroso na ekosoro in that way.
What can we do on our own to control the high blood pressure?
Well, very important thing to do on your own is when your doctor has prescribed medication, to take this medication as prescribed. So take it regularly, take it every day, and also if you have any side effects or if you fear about these medicines, keep on taking it, because it can lower your blood pressure. And if you have any doubts about medication, please discuss this with your general practitioner, because for instance when you have some side effects, they can try to prescribe you another medication that the side effects will disappear. It's very important to keep on communicating about that. And what you can do on your own is changing your lifestyle. For instance, what I told already before, changing your diet. When you use a lot of salt, try to lower your salt. Or additives like Maggi cubes or aromat, which is used a lot, try to lower that. But also try to lose weight if you are overweight. Or a very important measurement is to increase your physical activity level. Try to exercise or to be active minimally half an hour every day. So these are very important measurements. And of course, when you use alcohol, lower your alcohol intake. That's also a very important factor for getting high blood pressure or having a high risk for cardiovascular disease.
So if I understand you very well, if you are using a medication and it's not good, there are some medication, what I hear from most of the Ghanaians, that they take it and the side effects, very, very, very serious. So they decide just to stop it. And sometimes maybe you have a friend who also have the same and is taking something that is okay. Is it okay to maybe use somebody's medication or just stop using yours if the side effect is too much for you to handle?
Well, I can understand that people sometimes think about those solutions when you have a lot of side effects from medication that you try another one, but you never must do that because the medication that you get is prescribed precisely for your condition. So you cannot swap and change medication. No, that's not a good measurement. But if you have any side effects or you doubt about the medication that you get, please try to communicate this with your doctor, because your doctor is very open on this and wants to help you with it.
Thank you very much. But please, there's one question, most of us, the Ghanaians, when we go on holidays, it's so relaxed that sometimes you think you don't need your medication.
Yeah.
Because you feel okay. Is it all right to just stop it when you're on holidays and you feel all right?
Yeah.
No stress up.
I also heard this many times because people relate high blood pressure to stress, and it is not very clear if stress can cause high blood pressure. So I understand when you are feeling more relaxed, that you can think that your blood pressure is also lower or is disappeared. But if you need to take tablets for your high blood pressure, you really need to go on with them. You cannot stop with it while you have less stress or you feel more relaxed. Because what doctors often complain or often see is that when people come back from their holidays and they stopped with their medication, that the blood pressure became very high, and then it's very dangerous.
Okay. Dr. Eric Esantwa so can say ya be den ya control your high blood pressure. Ne di kan no say ya ma withdraw, doctor ma withdraw momodin na fasen ya wa prescribe ya ma on. Na say edro ne ma side effect e bia ho ye obi bia aya bomodin say no doctor be discuss e bi obetimi asesa ama and secondly no san kan bibi kakra fa say obi a ono so opese oye bibi by him or herself so enye drunko ubetimi asesa o lifestyle kakra say bia say umuye dura ubetimi atry say obete ho so kakra ma weight no abafom ena bibi ti say alcohol so e was say wo high blood pressure o mane bafom kra unsanom no e was say bafom ena afin so no ebisa ye say na obi wo ho a okọ holiday a ayana or feel say ne blood pressure no abafom nti ehu hia say obenu meduro ni biom ena Dr. Eric gwa say yama weduro nko ade a say wo ko holiday o say wo modern say ono because near doctor for ehu ne say omaya no mo medication for high blood pressure no omo free holiday ba ayana bebre na no ye be measure omo na omo blood pressure no e kosro higher than even time one na on call holiday. Until he say once you're on medication, you follow it.
Thank you very much. I think now we have to move on to Dr. Mary Nicolau. I would like us to talk about our diet. Let's discuss some diet and nutrition issues. Could you tell us something you already know about the eating habits, especially among Ghanaians or people of African origin?
Well, thank you for that question, because actually we don't know so much about the diets of African migrants and Ghanaians. We were lucky in the Gaia study that we had the opportunity to do some small studies to get some more information, but the Helius study is helping us to gather a lot more. One of the things that we know is that when people migrate to a new country, to a Western country, their dietary habits change, and they probably changed in some cases for the worse. We know that Ghanaians generally eat have quite irregular eating habits, probably due to differences in work schedules. We know that people tend to generally eat more meat and more fats when they migrate. What we know about the Ghanaians actually is that there are some good things about the diet of Ghanaians in comparison to white Dutch people. Ghanaians generally eat less animal fat, which is good because animal fat is very bad for your blood cholesterol. So Ghanaians actually don't eat so much animal fat. Ghanaians don't eat as much sugar as white Dutch people, so that's also a good thing. But the bad things are that people do not, and Ghanaians also do not eat enough fruits and vegetables. They don't eat enough high fiber, whole grain type products, and the irregular eating patterns. That's a big problem amongst the Ghanaian community.
So does our eating habits contribute to our risk for diabetes?
Yeah. Well, diabetes is a very important disease next to high blood pressure. Diabetes is also a very important disease or risk factor for heart disease amongst Ghanaians. The main risk factor for diabetes is being overweight and being physically inactive. So the things that influence being overweight are unhealthy, unbalanced dietary habits. So if you're overweight, you have a higher risk for diabetes. So diet contributes to diabetes risk through the overweight.
Okay. And how do one control their blood sugar level?
Okay, well, let me explain a little bit about what diabetes is. Because diabetes is a result of having too much sugar in your blood. Okay, so sugar in the blood that comes from the food in your that you eat. So once you have diabetes, because for most people we all eat sugar and we all eat foods that contribute to sugar in the blood. It's only when you have diabetes that the sugar level can become too high because your body cannot regulate the levels. You need sugar because sugar gives you energy. But when you have diabetes, you can't keep that sugar level at the right level. So when you eat too much sugar or when you eat too many starchy foods, then you get high levels of sugar in your blood. So you need to, when you have diabetes, limit the amount of sugar, or preferably have no sugar. But you have to still have starch or starchy foods. And starchy foods are things like potatoes and fufu and bread and all those things that give you energy. You can't avoid those foods. You can't not eat starchy foods. But starchy foods they have a slower effect on your blood sugar level. So you can still eat starchy foods, but you have to think about trying to have more of the high fiber starchy foods. So if you're going to have bread, to have the wholemeal bread. Or if you're going to have vegetables are also high in fiber, but any brown rice, for example, is better than white rice because there's more fiber, and the fiber slows down the sugar in your blood, the rise of the sugar in your blood. So if you're diabetic, you have to try and avoid sugar and to try and have more of the wholemeal, whole grain types of starches.
Dr. Veronica, again, I onim so far from the previous study and a PhD on dietary habits. Send Ghana for and I say tuntum for Didifa. Or say ye nim Yama Bibri for tuntum for na Kakrana onim ne say tuntum for no ye took kwanya ayana ye duani diesisa say ye migrate here ye duani diesisa. For instance, ye renamu Bibri as in set time and ye wufie. And I think so no near who say ye nyan ye nemo no sometimes no near maybe or ye di essen e biso. For instance, Ghana for ye the brain and shadam pe vegetables, fruits and vegetables. And I think so no ye nina so no ye here sugar. Na sometimes no in Biane bi wo honswa sugar wom essen bi. Sugary foods dear e bi wo ha yetimi identify but starchy foods so eka Emma, your sugar level, your blood sugar level, cholesterol. Now, see your blood sugar cholesterol, and your diabetes. And I besides, and our diabetes cry diabetes, you say sugar level, or blood sugar level, cholesterol. Now, and yama ben sana, ye bet me aya, a bet me ama, your blood sugar level no abafum. For instance, say ye di high fiber foods are ema sugar no and sugar no also ewo emoji bibiti say brown bread high fiber food boama ye sugar eba from brown rice into no anyama brown no boama ye sugar level no eba from.
Okay, Dr. Nicola, what is the symptoms of type 2 diabetes?
Well, diabetes, sometimes when you're, what happens when you have diabetes is your blood sugar level is too high. But if that happens slowly, because you can have quite a slow increase in your blood sugar level, you don't notice it. You just become used to it. So you might not have any very clear symptoms. You might just feel a little bit tired, a little bit thirsty, but nothing particularly strange. But quite often, really, when you have type 2 diabetes, you will feel very thirsty. You will have to go to the toilet more often to urinate, and you will feel very tired. And you might have problems getting out of your bed in the morning because you feel so tired. So that's the most obvious symptoms. But of course, I think actually a lot of people, they can have slightly high blood sugar, and they become so used to those symptoms they don't even realize that they're not well. So if you have a history of diabetes, you should have your blood sugar tested. That's the only way to really know if you are diabetic or not.
How do we treat it?
Yeah, it's very treatable actually. That's the really, diabetes is it's kind of a scary disease. A lot of people become worried about it when they hear it, but you can treat it very well if you are. You can treat it with diet. There are tablets or medications that you can take to help deal with high blood sugar, and in some cases you can have to take insulin injections. But the majority of people who have diabetes, they can treat it very well with following the right diet, becoming physically active, losing some weight, and maybe taking some tablets. So it's quite treatable, diabetes. And if you have a high risk for diabetes, preventing getting diabetes is also possible by watching your weight, being physically active, watching your diet, eating well, taking care of making sure you eat regularly, eating enough of the fruits and vegetables can help you prevent diabetes.
Can you explain it?
Yeah, diabetes is a area now. You diagnose say you blood sugar level was right, and it's all diabetes. Now you better then you control your blood sugar level. Dr. Nicola Chirmacha and say you better me the eduane a control your diet. Secondly, you better me so the tablet drew a control it. And I think so no first lifestyle wetimi so a control a treaty diabetes. Now I ask maybe I can diabetes I na a boy home because you tell say some scary disease name on diabetes so you treaty that means it you bet me answer diabetes yare no say who follow me doctor no e dia ma wa bet me answer and no ho and the cholesterol. What is cholesterol?
Yeah, cholesterol is also something that's in your blood. It's a kind of a fat that's in your blood. Everyone has cholesterol because you need it for many essential functions in your body. So everyone has cholesterol. But just like with blood sugar, sometimes it can be too high. So when you have a high level of cholesterol, or too high a level of cholesterol, it can build up on the inside of the blood vessels and cause problems with the blood flow. So that's cholesterol. And cholesterol also comes, it's produced by your own body, but it also can be, if you have an unbalanced diet, if you eat too much animal fat in particular, then your cholesterol level can be quite high.
How can we control it without medication?
Quite often you don't need medication to control cholesterol. I mean, there are medications for cholesterol, but just making sure that you avoid too much animal fat. And what I mean with animal fat is the fat that's on meat, so cutting off the excess fat of meat, avoiding butter, avoiding too much animal fats, animal products. They have a lot of cholesterol in them, or they cause your body to produce too much cholesterol. But what we found amongst the Ghanaian, in the Gaia study, is that actually Ghanaians eat a lot of fish, which is very good because it helps to lower blood cholesterol. Most people use vegetable oils to cook, which is also a good thing. I think the improvements in the Ghanaian diet can be to use less fat, so use oil but don't use so much of it, and to try and cut fat off meat, because I think that maybe people are not so careful about cutting off the fat.
Can you explain this, Veronica?
Yeah, na yebisa Dr. Veronica about cholesterol. Na cholesterol sradie a ewo mujemu. Na eyade a obia ewo bi. Na emu no se odi no kosra ene diagnosis of high cholesterol. Na edian ye be ya ye betimi ama high cholesterol na bafo. Most of the time ye hear medication. Ye hear drupia. Ye betimi the lifestyle and I say ye eating habits no asesa ama ye cholesterol no aba from. Na ni ono we hu ne say Ghana for ye intendi animal fat sradenam bebre inte ya de papa ena ye fish so eno so ye na emu say ye pese ye ma ye cholesterol ne ba from a e wo say ye hwe ne bi ti say oil say ye de be ye aduane but e wo say ye use less oil ena afen so ena mo aye de ye ade no so wo say ye bo modern srade no efrim eno so ye one way a etimi ma ye cholesterol no e ba from.
This has been an interview with members of the Helius team. Dr. Eric Berner, Dr. Mary Nicolau, and Mrs. Linda Owusu Asare Boati from the Department of Public Health in AMC. We hope that you've been educated and informed. Summarizing this interview, I would like to say that we have to realize that we can do a lot ourselves to achieve a healthy lifestyle. It is not always necessary to regularly change our lifestyles, but just being more conscious and modifying some daily habits. It is already possible to cut down the risk of getting heart and vessel diseases. Thank you for watching. I'm Veronica van der Kamp, the ambassador of the Helius study. Bye.